Again, people, man, I'm not into asking about sharing and getting views and make sure and share. This video needs to be shared with every citizen that cares about freedom and our out-of-control cops, law enforcement, and government. This is just an outrageous story of abuse by law enforcement for all the back the blue people that can't seem to get out of the Stockholm Syndrome of worshiping their abusers. Here's some cops doing some bad stuff and really putting this woman through hell.
Turn around. Turn away from the sound of my voice.
The next thing I knew, there were 6 armed people pointing rifles at me.
Stop moving and stop looking back. Stop looking back!
Who am I?
Turn
away.
Turn around, we'll discuss it.
Turn away, you're gonna get hit.
There is a terrible mistake going on here. They're like, you know who we are, we know who you are. I'm like, who am I? They're like, Carol Ann Rozak. I said, that is not who I am.
Outrageous. This is a pretty involved case. I've actually read the entire document over here on the filing for the lawsuit, which really just shows the amount of, this is the full body cam. So basically, this woman, a law-abiding person, did nothing wrong, was in front of her own house minding her own business. 3 cars with, I'm going to say 8 to 12, I'm not sure exact numbers, U.S. Marshals jump out. You notice this female with all her tattoos? I think she's the supervisor, diversity hires. She was in charge. They came at this woman with guns, arrested her, strip searched her, and transported her for an hour. Didn't let her take care of her dog, didn't let her call anybody, never asked her for ID. Did all this because her name matched another criminal with a warrant that had used her name as an alias. And that's what our great law enforcement. Now look, people that know me, been a cop, retired 30-year detective, whatever, I've got some experience in this. Before you go get a warrant, there's a thing called due diligence that you're supposed to do to prevent exactly what happened here. The problem is, when cops don't do due diligence, there is no recourse. You sue, you waste money, you go through the event, you possibly get killed, you get locked up, you get strip searched, you get humiliated, you get fingerprinted, you get forced DNA tests, you get forced urine tests, you're locked in a dirty cell with other criminals, and the government goes, oops, sorry, cops didn't do their due diligence, you can leave now. Sorry for the inconvenience. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what they said, the government said in the complaint. Penny McCarthy is not the fugitive Carol Rozak, wanted for an outstanding parole. On information belief, the U.S. Marshals claim that it was conducting a thorough review of Penny's arrest and the actions of the officers, but on information belief, whatever review the U.S. Marshals Service has conducted has produced no meaningful disciplinary actions or policy changes or corrective action. To the contrary, the U.S. Marshal issues the following statement in part. A preliminary review of this investigation indicates that the U.S. Marshals followed proper procedures, good faith reliance on the outstanding warrant, and the U.S. Marshals Service will continue its evaluation of the investigation. Remember, wrong person, not her. This person never arrested, no criminal history, simply has the same name that a fugitive used as an alias. Now, for those that aren't in law enforcement, don't understand how criminals use aliases, anytime you're arrested or pulled over by the cop, if you have a warrant, you say, do you have any ID? And you go, no, I left my wallet at home. I don't have my ID. Okay, what's your name? Because to comply with the identification, all you have to do is give me a name and date of birth. I have to prove that it's false. So you give me a fake name, date of birth, I go, okay, blah, 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 and I let you go. And then I find out later that it was you when you're arrested. That name that you gave me is now an alias. The person that they had the arrest warrant for had like 8 to 12 different aliases, very common. I remember one case specifically, this poor guy, black dude with he had a twin brother. Twin brother was a criminal in and out of jail, always committing crimes, always have warrants out for him. This guy was a good, hard-working, nice guy, and we were arresting him, and same name, same guy, same picture, same everything. The guy's like, dude, it's my twin brother, it's not me. Nobody believed him, but we did check the aliases, checked his name, And after a thorough review on scene, almost 45 minutes it took us to verify that he did have a twin brother and this wasn't him, and we believed him and we let him go, and he convinced us. Luckily, I mean, that was a case to where we probably could have went, dude, there's too many things that says you're this guy, you're going to jail. And I can't remember, it was a long time ago and all the process we went through, but there's such thing as X references and do you know your name, as if social security numbers and blah. So there were little things that we could find out. These incompetent U.S. Marshals looked at her Facebook page. She had the same name as an alias of this person. She was a white female about the same age. And that's what they rolled up with 9 to 12 cops armed with long guns to forcibly enter her house and arrest her. She just happened to be in her front yard. Outrageous piece of incompetence. They could have killed this woman. No running her license plate to see what it came back to. No checking her date of birth. No checking a history on her. I mean, when you're verifying a warrant, you can do all kind of things depending on a warrant or how sure you are. I mean, I can run a credit check. I can run your prior arrests. I can run your DMV. I can see what vehicles you have. I can run your address and see who your neighbors are. See if you're one of the neighbors. I can check your records for children. Did the other person have children? Do you have children present? There's all kind of things to verify whether you're the right. Remember, as a cop, you're making an action that could result in someone's death. You're entering a home forcibly with guns to arrest somebody. Oh, did I forget to tell you that the warrant was non-violent? It was a probation violation. The woman they were after simply did not meet with her probation officer. The warrant was over 5 or 10 years old. The cops did no due diligence whatsoever. Just an outrageous thing. Let me get back to the video on this. This will give you a little bit better thing. This is from the Institute of Justice. They're suing on this woman's behalf.
Penny McCarthy was living a quiet life in Phoenix. She had done nothing illegal or suspicious when a team of U.S. Marshals assaulted her like a violent criminal.
I've never been in trouble with the law. I had absolutely no clue what this could remote.
Come on, people. Obviously, this woman looks like she could be dangerous, right? You have 6 to 8 armed agents with bulletproof vests and rifles. Assault rifles. Oh, I'm sorry. Police call them patrol rifles, so they're good. Long machine guns. 6 of you against this woman. Really? And people say cops aren't out of control. Rick, why do you hate cops? Why are you always cracking on the cops? Because our cops are out of control. And they're out of control because good people that used to respect cops 20 years ago, where cops actually worked for the community, they were part of the community, they actually were held accountable. They could be fired for doing stupid shit like this. And we've now transformed into cops are gods, cops are heroes, cops have a tough job, back to blue, or you're a bad person. We must respect and realize that cops have a hard job and they can do whatever they want, but we still have to back them up. They don't have to be held accountable. They can't be sued. The government doesn't hold them accountable. DAs don't charge them with crimes. Juries don't convict them. So therefore, they are getting more and more out of control. Less respect for the rule of law, less respect for procedure, less respect for the Constitution, and less respect when they kill people because they know they're going to walk. It is a dangerous combination to give extreme power of deadly force with no accountability. We have turned our police force into a standing army of 007 agents with a license to kill. No accountability. Outrageous.
Do you want to confirm who I am?
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
In less than 2 minutes, Penny went from doing yard work to being chained up in the back of an unmarked minivan.
No one showed me any badges. I was never issued any Miranda rights. I was never through.
Okay, so a lot of people always say nobody told me Miranda rights. Remember, the only time a cop's required to read your Miranda rights is when they ask you incriminating questions about the criminal activity. So if I pull up to you, I can ask you, what time is it? The weather's nice today. Do you know what the weather's going to be tonight? Can I get your name and date of birth? Those are not considered, per the courts, incriminating responses. I can't ask you questions to elicit incriminating information. We know you killed so-and-so. Where did you hide the rifle? We know you did this. Where did you put the gloves? We know you buried a body. Where did you bury it? Those are incriminating evidence that I can use against you. If you're in custody, I have to give you Miranda before I ask you those questions. If you're not in custody, I don't have to give you Miranda. The two-pronged test for Miranda is custody and interrogation. And interrogation is about the criminal offense I'm talking about. I can actually ask you about other things, other prior criminal events that I'm not investigating without Miranda. It has to be specific to why I'm arresting you. So they're arresting her for a probation violation of a non-violent crime that's over 10 years old. They did no due diligence on whether it's a woman. They simply read her. Now, here's the kicker, which should piss everybody off. The reason they did this, they're not going to say it. I'm going to tell you. The reason they did this is stats. Our police force is about justifying more police, about justifying our jobs, writing more tickets, harassing the public, making arrests that we know will not be charged, making false arrests that we don't give a shit. It's all about stats. These fugitive task force, and I've worked with the U.S. Marshals, I was a deputy U.S. Marshal, and I've worked with the criminal apprehension team. So I know it's about stats. And when there's no accountability, an arrest is arrest. These cops who did this outrageous, egregious act on this woman and put her through all this because of their incompetence and their lack of care to the Constitution, rule of law, procedure, they didn't give a shit. Why should they? They can't get sued. They're not going to lose their jobs. I mean, the U.S. Marshal backed them up completely. Hey, you know what? They follow procedure. This was their procedure. Arrest a woman with guns 6 to 9 to 1 on an unarmed woman. Threaten to shoot and kill her. Don't let her secure her dog. Don't let her lock her property. Throw her in a car in an unmarked vehicle. Transport her to jail and hold her without letting her make a phone call. Without ever IDing her at all. They fingerprinted her twice. Some guy looked at the fingerprints and says, yeah, they're pretty close. They're a match. The reason they did this, they got a stat. Even though this woman is suing, even though she was released, even though she was put through all this, could have been killed, guess what? The fugitive U.S. Marshal apprehension team still gets the arrest stat because we got one in custody, and that's all that matters. How many arrests did you make? 14. How many of them were the real person that went to prison? Well, only one. But 14, we got 14 arrests. We need more criminal apprehension teams. We're really busy. We need more overtime. We need more officers. Look how many arrests we're getting. It is so outrageous how our cops have become this just out of control standing army, and people are attacking me because I'm a retired cop, that you're making it worse for cops, Rick, by pointing this out. People, everyone should be outraged. They are coming for you. You are next. I'm next. This woman did nothing wrong, and her total life was turned upside down. She now has a criminal record. She was in jail. She was strip searched 3 times. Outrageous! You know what? There's no news media covering this. There's no protest. There's no where is the government accountability. Our lazy ass politicians aren't up there saying, we're going to pass a law that's going to stop this shit. When you cops don't do your job, you're fired and you're going to be civilly liable for what you do. Our legislators ain't doing that. They're out there running around back the blue. The police have a good job. We need to back the police. The police have a really hard job, Rick. We need to pay our police more, and we need more police, and they have a really tough job. That's all I hear. It's propaganda. It is the Stockholm Syndrome without a doubt. We have fallen in love with our oppressor, and our government has made the police an out-of-control, oppressing army. Our government, the blue, the back to blue, is worse than the original redcoats that used to abuse our founders before this country became a country. It is outrageous what this case is. This should be a national outcry. Just happened in 2024. They just filed a lawsuit in 2025.
Just allowed a phone call. They chained me at my ankles and my waist and my hands to my waist.
The marshals were looking for Carol Ann Rozak, a woman wanted for a 25-year-old parole violation.
25-year-old parole violation. In the complaint, if you read the whole complaint, I'll put a link of it if you want to read it. It's pretty interesting on how just egregious this was. She just didn't show up for her meeting. She was supposed to meet with her parole agent or probation agent and just didn't show up. missed the meeting. So it automatically goes to parole warrant. Now it's a felony warrant because it was a federal case for tax. She misrepresented this hardened criminal that took 3 cars with 6 to 12 armed U.S. Marshals. Ooh, those are federal agents, Rick. We need to support and back the blue. 6 of them to go after somebody for record keeping. That was her federal offense. She got 5-year sentence. Non-violent. No violent. No nothing. Non-violent. Federal arrest warrant. It just, the multitude of shit that points to out of control cops not doing their job or using any judgment because they don't have to, because they're unaccountable. And why should they be accountable when idiots run around saying back the blue all the time?
For nonviolent crimes. The marshals refused to let Penny show ID, retrieve her purse, or secure her house. They took her away with her house doors unlocked and her dog frantically barking inside.
Dog could have died. Robbers could have broken a house. I'm telling you, I've worked in some pretty nasty areas, and when we arrested people, we had people begging us to lock their house up because they know it was code in this neighborhood. When somebody gets arrested, we know they're not home. Their house gets broken into that night without fail. And they'll even tell us we're going to jail. Oh, man, you guys are taking me to jail. Look at all these people. They're going to rob my house tonight. Shouldn't have committed a crime. Shouldn't have got arrested. And their house will be robbed. Everything they own will be gone. Because that's what cops do. They don't care.
Me in this van behind a Fry's grocery store at 35th and Peoria. My first thought was, I have just been compliant in my own kidnapping. I'm going to die.
She still wasn't convinced they were a cop because they were all in plain clothes, unmarked cars, no police presence. I mean, if this would have been a actual warrant done with correctly, you would get a local guy there. If there was really a threat, you would get local law enforcement there because you want their radio. They know the city. They have multiple cars. They can get you additional backup in case there's a pursuit, a shooting, ambulance. You want local law enforcement there. You usually want a marked unit. I worked plenty of plainclothes task forces. And when we did something, we made sure we had a marked unit if we thought it was going to go sideways or if it was a real violent crime. We were going after people who were killing, stabbing with guns and doing shit like that. I wasn't going after traffic citations and somebody who misrepresented documents on a tax document end up going to prison and getting put on probation. That's not who we went after when I was a cop. Nowadays, guess what? It's a stat. It's an arrest. We'll get more cops. We'll get more support. Look how many felony arrests. Our team is really good. We got 14 felony arrests this month. Yeah, but they were all for freaking traffic tickets or tax evasion or white collar crime. The pussiness of cops just drives me nuts nowadays.
Penny was then taken to a federal courthouse where a mugshot and fingerprints were taken. Although Penny had never been arrested before, officers claimed that her fingerprints and tattoo matched Carol Rozak's.
And at some point he says,
just for the record, there was no tattoos recorded for the person on the warrant. This is a common ploy that law enforcement uses to try and get people to admit they're wrong. So if you tell me, if I know it's you, and you tell me, man, this isn't me, I go, dude, your tattoos match. If I see a tattoo, I go, you match the suspect. Probably 9 times out of 10, the person will be like, shit, all right, you got me. It's a common ploy. Your tattoos match. We've already done this. Your fingerprints match. I tell the case where I made a handprint of my own fingerprint. I went to copy machine, ran it, brought in the suspect, showed it to him, said, dude, we just pulled your prints from the house. And the guy admitted and confessed to the crime. I had nothing on him, but we knew he did it for around about snitches and stuff, but we didn't have much. But he confessed because I showed him a handprint of my fingerprints. So they said, your fingerprints match and your tattoo matches, trying to get her to admit that she was this person.
the fingerprints match. And I'm like, with what? Because there's no way my fingerprints are in the system. With what do they match? Well, we just have a match. We have a match on your tattoo also. I'm like, there is no flipping way you have a match on my tattoo. This tattoo is only not even 10 years old.
No one
Remember, the warrant was 25 years old.
to Penny's pleas that she wasn't Carol Rozak. So Penny was loaded onto a bus and taken to a distant prison.
They put me on a bus, they drive me there, And they do like a roll call, and this lady says, Carol Ann Rozak. And I'm looking around, and all the other girls go, that's you? And it's like, no, it's not. We go into a room where there's 20 other women.
This is really smart on her part. She never admitted to being this woman to make it easy. And every cop and every strip search they did, they accused her, why are you making this difficult? We know it's you. In their mind, they're thinking, surely the cops wouldn't arrest this woman without knowing it's really her. Because that's what the jailers and people that process people think. Because everybody that comes in there, it wasn't me, you got the wrong person, I didn't do it, I'm innocent. Everyone we arrest. So jailers and people that do this get conditioned to that, and they get cold and they don't care. And they're like, yeah, sure, it's not you. Yeah, sure. Right. The cops arrested you for no reason. Yeah, they do it all the time because they're not accountable. But this back the blue propaganda, this Stockholm syndrome that everybody lives in to worship cops blindly and not hold them accountable when we see it on camera, their blatant abuse of power. No accountability. Outrageous.
Women, and the three of us are now being strip searched in front of 20 other women.
Outrageous.
I can't wear my hair tie because my hair's up in a ponytail because I've been working in the yard. So I fling it at her because now I'm just hurt and pissed off and mad and angry. And
this woman's not going to get over this. Being arrested, if you've never been arrested, you don't understand I've arrested people for the first time and I see their experience. And it's like, it's totally different than the people that are like, yeah, I'll spend a night in jail. I don't care. Oh, shit, I can see my homies. It's totally different. It's very, people, especially DUI arrests, because a lot of DUIs have never been arrested. They had a few too much to drink and they went to jail. And when you see them getting booked, it's just like, it is devastating. They are in shock. Their eyes are big. It's traumatizing. They're getting probed and searched and everything's taken away. They've never been locked up before. They've never had a bunch of strangers pawn all over them and search them. It is traumatic. I just don't understand how there's not more outrage over this.
she says, well, you can buy another one when you get there. And I'm like, with what? I have no wallet. I have no purse. So they strip search you, and when they strip...
So there's a thing that's called usually indicia confirmation. When we do warrants or search warrants or arrest warrant, we usually get what's called indicia. Indicia are documents or proof that the person you're arresting has some sort of ties or connection, or you're verifying their identity. So if I did a search warrant on a house to prove that the person I was lived there that I was doing a house on, I would take a picture or some indicia in the warrant. Either a cable bill and the person's name, a rent bill, any mail that's addressed to that person at the house. That would be further proof of indicia on my part to connect the person to that residence. They didn't, where's your ID? Can we get your wallet for you? Can we see your ID? Can we call somebody that can verify how long have you lived here? Well, we got this. This would have been so easy. Hey, we got a Facebook post. You've got the same name as this woman. We're trying to verify. Will you talk to us? It's not like she's going to run away. It's not like she's going to be jumping fences. This is just a lack of judgment when you militarize, you give cops automatic weapons, extended magazines, flashbang grenades, you give them armies and armored trucks, you start locking up people on the beach because they're not wearing a mask, and you make all this normal for cops to be heroes no matter what they do. Outrageous!
It's like no matter what kind of shape you're in, the answer is the same. Lift your boobs, lift your belly, turn around, squat, pull your butt cheeks apart, cough 3 times. It's humiliating.
Meanwhile, nobody in Penny's life knew where she was. And according to everyone at the detention facility, Penny was not there because...
This is a problem with cooperating with your oppressor or aggressor or tyrant. When you cooperate with tyrants, it only hurts you in the long run. Now, the flip side is, if she resisted, they would charge her with resisting and all this other shit. It would all be dismissed, but they would have tacked on other charges, maybe beat the shit out of her, maybe tased her, maybe even shot and killed her. After all, according to them, she falsified some tax documents when she was working. And the original victim says she falsified those documents because she had an alcohol problem at the time and they were mistakes. And the court goes, well, there were too many, so we're going to give you 5 years prison. And so she got probation. And she didn't check in with her probation officer. And that's what this woman went through. Because cops, not anyone else. These are supposed to be trained, responsible adults that are carrying weapons and can take deadly force and kill you. They can take your life, your liberty, your property, everything. Just given all this power. And because they don't care. Because there's no accountability. I get so tired of people saying cops need more training. It's not about training. You can give me training for 20 years. If I ignore the training and nothing happens, fine. Send me to training all day. I don't care. Training is not the issue. Accountability to individuals that fail to follow the training they have. All these cops have training not to do what they did. They just didn't follow it, and they don't care. And why should they care? The public's running around back to blue no matter what they do.
They said she was Carol Ann Rozak.
I keep saying, I was told I could make a phone call. I was told I could make a phone call. And they're like, well, it's 11 o'clock now. The phones are shut off. But I've never been allowed to make a phone call. Nobody knows where I'm at.
She spent the night in a cold holding cell wearing threadbare prison garb. The next day, Penny was driven back to the federal courthouse, where she was finally able to meet with an attorney, the wrong woman. The judge asked the government to confirm whether the DNA sample and fingerprints they had taken from Penny matched the suspect. But the government attorney said he needed more time to confirm.
So the government, this would be the DA, the U.S. attorney, whoever the prosecutor is, should have said, yo, guy, I've been in front of good DAs. And I brought a case in that I thought was good, and the DA was like, I don't feel comfortable issuing a warrant. He goes, I need you to get this and this, then I'll go ahead and sign off on the warrant. Because in order to get a warrant, you need the DA to approve it, because the DA is going to have to prosecute it. So if I go get a warrant and a judge signs it, the judge wants to make sure that the information I'm using to get the warrant, the DA or the prosecutor is going to be able to use it, and it's good. If cops could just run out, which they probably can now, I don't know if it's still that way, just run out and make up shit. Oh, you know what? 12 armed U.S. Marshals. You know what? That lady looks like the lady that was arrested 25 years ago, and she has the same name of one of the 15 aliases that the suspect used. Let's go arrest her. Get the team together. We need a stat. Because that's basically what they did. No accountability. And the prosecutor didn't go, dude, you arrested this lady because of a fake book post? Are you kidding me? The prosecutor could have went, what did you use to verify that this is the woman? Well, she used one of the aliases. Any decent prosecutor would have went, that's not enough. You didn't do any other due diligence, run her plate, follow her, get a list of her neighbors, interview someone. You have no other information than the picture on a Facebook post looks like the suspect, so you're going to arrest her? Any good prosecutor would have went, I'm not taking this shit to jail. Release that woman. I'm not prosecuting. No, prosecution. Got to be a team player. Got to back the blue. We're a team. We got to work together. They were going to hold this woman for another week to verify her ID. Luckily, and I say luckily because normally government works together and the judge backs the government and the judge backs the prosecutor and the prosecutor backs the cops and the judge backs the cops, and normally the pesky citizens get screwed. Luckily, this judge went, this is a nonviolent crime that's 25 years old and you guys can't prove it's her. She's saying it's not, and there's actually, her family was there in court. There's actually a lot of evidence that says it's not her. Luckily, and I mean luckily, the judge went, I'm going to release her until you can prove it's her. Raise your hand if you think the government was right and she was rearrested. Of course not, because when they did the DNA and the fingerprints, it didn't match, it wasn't her, and they dropped the case. But she would have been in jail for another week had the judge not went, this is so fishy and so bad, I'm going to let her go. Most judges would be like, back to blue. Cops wouldn't do this. We got to trust the police. No matter what they do. They're always right and they're always good. They're always heroes. And we can never say anything bad about the police. It's just crazy.
The court set another court date to establish Penny's identity and released her until that time.
I'm going to call you Ms. McCarthy at this point. So I am releasing you from custody in the building, and I'm not going to order you to present to pretrial services. I am going to, and I'm not going to set release conditions.
She actually did set some release conditions, which was bullshit, further impeding this woman's free movement and due process. She had to check in with her attorney once a week. Luckily, in a week, they found out that it wasn't her. They dropped the case. No apology, no nothing. Have a nice day. Unfreaking believable. In the court document, U.S. Marshals Service issuing the following statement. Preliminary review. The USMC, that's the Marshal Service, will continue its evaluation. The USMC regrets any inconvenience caused by the mistaken. Damn, I feel better already. The U.S. Marshal Service regrets my inconvenience. I just feel whole, like a new person. Unfreaking believable.
The government ended up dropping all charges before Penny's next court date. And while the ordeal was over, the trauma has been life-changing.
I don't want any part of it anymore. I don't trust any government official or...
That's a big mistake in the first part, that she did trust him before. She raised her kids to trust the government and cooperate with police. That is a death warrant, people, nowadays. It is absolutely crazy that we are allowing cops to do what they do, and that me, as a retired police detective over 30 years experience in law enforcement, does not trust cops, does not want to be around cops, do not want to cooperate with cops, and I do not want to help cops. What radicalized me, because that's what they'll say, I'm radicalized. What radicalized me? The lack of accountability and standards in law enforcement, and what law enforcement is able to get away with without any repercussions. They'll end up paying this woman some money, but not the cops. The taxpayers will pay her. The cops are out there arresting people, not a day of work, not a suspension, not a negative thing in their file, nothing, zero. They're running around high-fiving. Who gives a shit about this old bitch? We got an arrest stat. Fuck her suing us. Let's go out and arrest somebody else. Come on, guys, who are we going to arrest today? That's what's happening on the task force. I guarantee it. I was there. I know how this shit works, people. Outrageous.
Anybody anymore. I raised 5 children to respect the law. And now I feel stupid for doing that.
Good. She should feel stupid. Anybody telling people to respect law enforcement nowadays is a fool. Until the courts or the people or our legislators pass laws to get cops in check, they are the biggest threat to our Constitution and freedom out there. Our cops are out of control. Stop backing the blue propaganda bullshit. This is an outrageous case. We'll end that there.